everyone, Amber here from So Majestic. Welcome back to my channel. So at the end of April, we had the big reveal for the Wild West Puzzle Mystery Quilt. I sewed up the large Josie, so I was live on the reveal with the rest of the ambassadors and the Cotton Cuts team. So I will have the description or the link in the description below so you can rewatch it. In this, I'm just going to talk a little bit about how I put my quilt together. Because I had to have it ready for the reveal, I did not film a full-length tutorial putting all the strips together. So I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about that now in case you are still putting yours together and you're having trouble, or if you were a little bit confused with the borders, because this quilt was the first time it's done a little bit differently where we had to trim. So I will be talking about that in the video. Let me know in the comments what colorway that you sewed up and if you enjoyed the live reveal. Alright, so you can see I have already completed the quilt, but in case you are still putting it together or want some extra help with the borders, I am going to talk about the instructions for a little bit. So there are 4 pages to put this together for the large size. In our month 10 pack, you are going to have 4 strips of E fabric, which for Josie was this orange, and 4 strips of F, which was this bright pink. You are also going to have some binding fabric. I have not attached my binding because I have not gotten this quilted yet. So the first page tells you about the pieces in the pack and if you ordered extra borders. I do not have extra borders on my quilt. I only have the ones that come through month 10. So now on the second page, we are building our quilt in 3 different sections. So for steps 1 to 3, you are going to be doing the top and the bottom. So the first row up here and the very bottom row. And we had very large blocks this time, which made it really easy to put together. So you're going to make 2 of these because you can see that the top row of my quilt here is a mirror to the bottom. And then the same thing for steps 4 through 6. In this case, you're going to do row 2, which is right here, and row 4. And again, they're just mirrored when you put them together. And then steps 7 through 9 is the center of your quilt. So right through here, our nice centerpiece, you will have 1 of them. And for 10 through 13, it is going to show you how to assemble your borders. So that is where we have, for example, 8A, 4B, and 1B. Those are blocks that we did throughout the months, but we're using our E and F fabric. So E and F fabric. My suggestion is to not sew these yet. I would not do steps 10 through 13 until you have attached all these rows together. And that's because we have to trim. You can see from here to here are just those strips that were given to us. And we have to trim them. Cotton Cuts is great. They always send extra fabric because the previous quilts have just been one long border along the side and you can just trim the edge. But this one, because it's in the middle, is going to require you to measure. So that's why I would not build them yet. So on page 3, just drop it. It's showing you how to put it all together. So I would do step 17 first, which is the top, second, middle, third, or fourth, fifth. Sorry, I can't count today. And making sure that it's mirrored. You'll get this nice central piece. And then it will tell you 14 to 16. You're adding your sides on the left and the right, and the top and the bottom. So what I did then is I would only attach one side. So for example, I would start here, 8A, 4B. Put those 2 together, and then the F and E fabric. I would not attach this end over here. What I would do first, or what I did, is I lined it up, and I could see that the end of the E and F fabric, according to the picture, would line up to this seam right here in the white. So when I laid my piece out, I matched up all the seams, and then when I got here, I measured a 1/4 inch seam allowance on my strip to the right or to the bottom of the seam, and then I cut my fabric. Once I had that 1/4 inch marked, that's when I attached this last section, which would be your 1B section. And so I did the same thing for the top and the bottom. This is showing you over here. Actually, I might have just said the top and the bottom. This is the left and the right. But it's the same idea. So here you can see that it's lined up with a seam here and a seam here where this green ends. So you can use those as your measurement. I would add one side first, measure your 1/4 inch, trim it, and then attach your other piece. So I know this was a little bit tricky. It threw me for a loop at first. I just sewed it regularly. I didn't pay attention, didn't even think about there was probably extra fabric. And I ended up with about a whole flying geese extra. So that is when I had to backtrack, rip things apart, and then use those lines to measure. I know it's a little bit hard to understand with me just talking about it. I hope that is helpful to you. And so then once you have your left and right, you're going to add your top and bottom. And then the very end is if you want to add your extra borders. So steps 18 and 19 tell you which ones to put on first. And then down here would be your extra borders. The skinny border goes first, and then the larger 6.5 inch border if you're doing the large size. And these will be longer, but at least for those, you can just kind of measure to the very end of your quilt and trim it. You won't be adding, any flying geese or anything like that. So I hope you loved Wild West. Thank you so much for following along with me. I had so much fun being the ambassador for Josie. Sign-ups for Under the Sea are opening May 30th. If you were a participant in the Wild West Puzzle Mystery Quilt, you will get the option to sign up early. I highly recommend that. The colorways are gorgeous, and they usually do, some of them at least, sell out very, very quickly. So if you have one in mind, I would definitely recommend signing up as soon as you can. And if you have the ability, I always recommend doing the prepaid in full upfront, because you will get everything in the box. You won't have to wait and worry about the mail coming in. And if there's any delays with mail, people get, frustrated because they're excited for their clues to come in. So again, thank you so much for following along. Thank you to Cotton Cuts for allowing me to be an ambassador. As soon as I have my code for Under the Sea, I will let you know. And I'm also going to put a link in the description for the signups for Under the Sea. And again, if you enjoyed my channel, I'd love if you give me a thumbs up or subscribe. It does help my channel grow. I appreciate it so much. See you next time. Bye.